For 12 years, my marriage to Emma had been solid. Not spectacular, not perfect, but steady in a way that felt dependable. Life with her was a series of small joys. Shared meals, quiet evenings, little rituals that became the fabric of us. It wasn't a movie romance, but it was ours, and I never questioned it. Until she did. It was a Tuesday evening, the kind of unremarkable day that ends in takeout and a TV show. We were halfway through dinner when Emma put down her fork, her face unusually serious. "What if we considered opening up our marriage?" she asked. The words landed like a thunderclap. My first instinct was disbelief. Surely I'd misheard her. But her eyes were steady, waiting for my reaction. "Why?" I asked, my voice quieter than usual. She shrugged, trying to seem casual. "It's just something I've been thinking about. A lot of people are doing it now. You know, it's 2024. The year? Was that supposed to justify it?" I didn't say anything at first, just let her words hang there. "Are your friends influencing you?" I finally asked. "No," she said quickly. "Do you already have someone in mind?" Her eyes widened. "No." She insisted it was just a suggestion, that we didn't have to do anything if I wasn't comfortable. "I just thought we should talk about it," she said, her voice soft, almost pleading. I told her I needed time to think, and she agreed. But the damage was already done. That night, as she slept beside me, my mind raced. Was this really just a harmless suggestion? Or was there something deeper she wasn't saying? The unease stayed with me in the days that followed. Against my better judgment, I gave in to suspicion. When Emma wasn't around, I checked her phone and laptop. It felt wrong, like crossing a line, but I had to know. There was nothing. No texts, no emails, no secret profiles. Relief mingled with guilt. But the nagging feeling in my gut didn't go away. A week later, I gave her my answer. "I've thought about it," I told her one evening, standing in the living room. She sat on the couch, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "And," she asked, her voice hopeful but wary. "You can date anyone you want," I said. "Because I want a divorce." Her face crumpled. "What? No." "Michael, no," she cried, rushing to her feet. I stayed where I was, unmoving. "You brought this into our marriage, Emma. You opened the door, and I can't close it now. I can't look at you the same way." Tears streamed down her face. "I didn't mean it like that. If I knew it would lead to this, I never would have brought it up." I believed her. She probably didn't think it would come to this, but the damage was done. That night, I packed a bag and moved into the guest room. Emma refused to leave the house, and so did I. We lived like strangers under the same roof. Our once comfortable home, now a war zone of silence and unspoken tension. She took sick leave from work, her days spent pacing the house or crying in the living room. Every time I walked through the door, she begged to talk, to fix things, to go back to how we were. But I couldn't. Weeks turned into months. The divorce process was straightforward. No kids, little shared property, similar salaries. Our lawyer assured me it would be a clean break. One evening, as I was making dinner, Emma came into the kitchen. Her face was pale, her eyes swollen from crying. "I need to tell you something," she said. I didn't respond, focusing on the pasta I was stirring. "When I suggested the open marriage," she continued, her voice shaking, "I did have someone in mind." The spoon froze in my hand. Slowly, I turned to face her. "Who?" "A co-worker," she admitted, her words barely above a whisper. "But I didn't do anything, Michael. I swear. I don't know what I was thinking." Her confession should have shocked me, but it didn't. Deep down, I'd known. There was a reason her suggestion had felt so wrong. Why it had unraveled my perception of her. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. "Because you deserve the truth," she said, tears streaming down her face. "And because I hate myself for what I've done to us." I leaned against the counter, crossing my arms. "I'm glad you told me. But it doesn't change anything." Her sobs grew louder, her body trembling as she clutched the edge of the counter for support. "I loved you," I said, my voice softer now. "I thought we had something solid, something unshakable. But this was a betrayal, even if it wasn't physical." "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. "I know," I replied. "But you did." The weeks that followed were a blur. Emma cut ties with her friends and extended her leave from work. I focused on my job, finding comfort in routine. The day I moved out, she stood in the doorway, tears in her eyes but saying nothing. As I drove away, a strange mixture of relief and sadness washed over me. I had loved her deeply, but that love had been built on trust that her question had shattered. Sometimes I wondered if I'd been too harsh, if there was a way we could have repaired what was broken. But then I remembered her confession, the coworker, and the betrayal that lingered even in her remorse. She had gambled on a what-if, and in doing so, she had lost everything. And I, though heartbroken, had found my freedom.